back, fantasy managers. This is Devo 1099. Tom, I've got a special guest. You might remember him from earlier this season, or if you play Mondogoal from the top of the leaderboards, we have Big O1 or Nick. How's it going, Nick?
Yeah, all good, all good. Excited about the Boxing Day fixtures. So
yeah, this is a special edition. The Boxing Day slate is going to be crazy. There's 9 games with staggered starts. So on Mondogoal, where there's no late swap, there's going to be some decisions to be made for those later matches. On Draftkings, you've got a little bit more flexibility, but you're going to definitely want to have mapped things out properly. Big news, I guess, today is it sounds like Louis van Gaal is out at United. Do you think Mourinho is going to be stepping in there?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. It's basically an internal battle between the class of '92 with Ryan Giggs mostly and a few other guys, and then Mourinho. Because if Mourinho comes, he doesn't come for 6 months. I guess he will want like at least 2 years and a half or 3 years and a half. So I'm not too sure. It's really a 50-50 between those two, I guess, if it happens. I mean, it's not confirmed, to be honest. From what I see, it's far from being done. But yeah, we'll see. It's quite surprising, to be honest. It's like if you're not top 2 of the Premier League, it seems that your job is done by Christmas, which is a bit harsh, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Mourinho allowed, his behavior kind of was asking for it. He just started mouthing off in the press conferences and that sort of thing. Van Gaal is a little different because I don't feel like they purchased the right players for the strategy he was trying to play, and then got frustrated with him when it didn't work. I also don't think that I don't think he's an aggressive enough manager for the type of team they want to be. To win the league is very tough. Like, he was a neutered version of what Chelsea were last year. But I don't know if Martial and Memphis are necessarily all world players or not yet either. So
yeah, having said that, he decided to sell like some very good players like Chicharito, for example, who is doing up very
yeah.
well in Germany and probably better than Rooney. He kind of created his own problems. Having said that, I mean, he did what he was asked to do, which is like Champions League last year. He got 4 spots, and this year it looks like they could still be in the Champions League. I mean, in the top 4 by the end of the year. So I don't know. It's a bit harsh, but I don't think it will change anything for Manchester anyway, because I mean the team is so thin that except a couple of players like Will Fellaini is playing more maybe, but I mean the rest is the squad picked by itself really. So
yeah,
it won't have a huge impact for fantasy or DFS for sure.
Yeah, I could see somebody coming in and at least getting them to play a little bit more open. You look at the career statistics of a lot of those players. They're so much worse for United than they were prior. So, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I don't think we'll see it in Stoke this weekend. But so that's the throwaway game for this week. That one, there are some slates included all, but none of the big ones. So we'll skip that one.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't play much if the slate include this game, because it means you can't see the lineup, or at least if you don't have late swap, you can't see the lineups of the other games, and there will be, like every Boxing Day, you will have tons of surprises with
yeah. So you're either going to get rotated on Boxing Day or on the 28th. So
yeah, exactly. So it's
there's no skill in picking that, despite what some truthers of no late swap would suggest. So probably the least important match of the slate, but I think maybe some undercover value on both sides is at Villa Park. Aston Villa hosting West Ham. Both teams are pretty bad. West Ham in particular has been hit by injuries. They haven't really returned to form since Payet went down. Are you looking at either side in this match?
Yes, I mean I don't think it's a bad game. I was fairly impressed with Villa, at least the second half on Saturday. For sure, they're fighting and give the best. AEO is a good player, and I think it would be quite highly owned, and for good reasons. Check the lineup though, because if he plays on the wing, he loses a lot of potential, I think.
Mm-hmm.
For the rest, there too, I guess for Draftkings is amazing, but even for Mondogoal, he's been pretty good. I mean, I looked at his assists potential, and I think he has created more chances than Özil in the last 4 games, for example. So it's
he's been really strong. Obviously, I'm more familiar with him because, like you said, on Draftkings, but he's kind of the only player they have right now that's doing anything. Which, he's taking every corner and takes all their free kicks. His assist to Ayew, he didn't really do a whole lot. All he did was cross it, and then Ayew had that wonder shot. But it still counts. And I think they could get a goal or two in a match like this.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the fullbacks as well are not too bad. Quite attacking, like Hutton and Bakuna. On Mondogoal, Guzan is super cheap, so probably not for your cash team, but for GPPs, is not too bad. So there are good options, I would say.
Yeah,
mostly on the Villa side, but even on West Ham, you have a few.
Yeah, I again on Draftkings, I really I use Zarate pretty often now. He's kind of similar to Verito, where it doesn't necessarily matter if he is effective; he's going to get opportunities and cheap points. If you're scared of strikers, he's a little cheaper on Mondogoal as well.
Yeah, although last time he left the field around 55, 60 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Lanzini could be back, so I'm not sure. I mean, you better than me on corner. Who is gonna take corners? But I would assume he will lose a few corners to Lanzini. No.
Yeah, I guess that's possible. They were splitting them when Lanzini went down.
Something to check, I guess.
It's
more not the corner, but it's more the minutes. There is a problem.
Right.
I think Carroll should be back. We don't have team news, but he probably. I mean, he was supposed to miss only 1 game.
What about Cresswell?
It's okay. I mean, his defensive stats are not amazing. So like tackles, interceptions, it's okay, but not too amazing. I think there are much better options everywhere. I mean, on the slate for sure. I haven't seen him taking many free kicks as well, which was one of his weapons before.
Right. He scored a few of those last year, which really helps.
Even at the beginning of the season, he was on it, but I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it's a bit weird as well. The West Ham now they have Tompkins as a fullback, which I'm not sure about. They really, I mean, they play very deep and try to not concede before all. So he's okay in terms of potential clean sheet, but even so, I mean, if you look at the bookie or the odds in general, it's far from being the best option, and so he's less attacking as well. I'm not such a big fan. I'm a big fan in general of his, but maybe not for today.
Yeah, he creates a fair amount of chances, all things considered. I don't know how good the quality of those chances really is.
With Carroll, it's probably better, but because he crosses a lot, that's what he creates.
Right.
And why not?
Zarate has 12 completed 12 chances created in the past 4 weeks, 32 crosses. So
Yeah,
that's a DraftKings play. Cresswell's only got 4 created chances and 19 crosses, which, for a defender is not terrible, but I don't know. We spent enough time on this game. I don't anticipate using too much on Mondogoal for that. So, next we have Bournemouth against Palace. Palace has been kind of I feel like they're not getting quite the attention that they deserve, considering that in points they're tied for 4th in the table.
Yep.
They haven't had a goal from a striker all season, which is incredible. Wickham, I believe, is hurt now as well. Cabaye, I believe, is hurt also, which thins things out. I think that brings Bolasie, Punchin, and Zaha into play. I don't know if either of them can really go a full 90 minutes anyhow, but I kind of will be looking at those players because I think Bournemouth can be scored on. I think Stanislas is going to be out for Bournemouth, which leaves Richie with full duty on corners and free kicks. And then you've got Daniels and Adam Smith as the fullbacks creating chances there. Do you think there's going to be goals in this game?
Probably. Having said that, it could be tighter than people think because Palace is very, very tight and Bournemouth has been pretty okay, actually. And as you said, I mean, except Bolasie and probably Richie, maybe. I mean, definitely in Draftkings, in Mondogoal, far less. I mean, the attacking options are not that sexy on this slate, to be honest. I mean, King and Wickham are probably out, so that the 2 main strikers are out. As you said, Stanislas, who is very good, both on Mondogoal and Draftkings, is probably out as well. So it's a difficult one. I mean, Bolasie for sure is a target. Zaha could be, but apart from that, I don't see that many good options, to be honest. I mean, in terms of attacking, the fullbacks for Bournemouth are not too bad. Apparently, Daniels is on penalty as well, which
that was news.
Yeah,
to
it's
a lot of
quite
people, I
surprising. Smith is doing well as well. He scored 2 in the last 4. So probably better go those 2 guys, which is a big surprise because Francis was the big guy before, and now he's playing center back, which makes him totally useless, probably in both slates. I would target more surprisingly, I would target more the defenders of Bournemouth and Richie potentially, but it's very expensive on Mondogoal.
Just 10.1 million on Mondogoal. Bolasie is only 8.8 million. He may end up playing striker, which
I'm not sure. Yeah, he played striker twice and he didn't do much. So.
I don't know who else could it be. I mean, they hate
Shamak.
They hate Bamford.
Yeah,
I guess Shamak. I don't know. I think that I think you could convince me that they're going to have trouble scoring too many goals. The more you look at it, but
I mean, it could go either way. But I think people would target those players far more than probably they should, in my opinion. At least on Mondogoal, I'm not sure about Draftkings because Draftkings, like a guy like Matt Ritchie, has a huge floor, so you don't mind too much if he doesn't score. But on Mondogoal, you mind a lot because if he doesn't score for 10.1, he would never reach value. So it's really different. I wouldn't target them too much on Mondogoal for sure.
All right, so let's go to the bridge. Chelsea looked okay last week. They got a couple quick goals early. They really awkward reception from the fans who were chanting for Mourinho and booing some of the players. They held on. I think they won 3-1. And now they get Watford, who has been a surprise. Maybe not to you as much. I think you rated them pretty highly coming into the season. I would have lost a bet, I believe, if we had made one. I think I had Bournemouth as the top performing promoted team, but you've got a strong edge there coming up on the midway point. I think Willian has been incredible. Pedro was a little bit better last week. Costa, I wouldn't touch right now. Hazard, I think, is probably iffy to play, but could.
Yeah.
Then you've got Ivanovic and Courtois. If you want to go the defensive route and bet against Igalo and Dini, which has been a very bad bet. I know that you've been burned by Chelsea so often this season that you're starting to turn against them a little bit. Are you back in the fold now that Mourinho's gone and it seems like they're playing better as a team or not?
In general, yes. I think Watford is not such an easy team. They will play very tight, very deep. And we'll see later that there are many good options. I mean, with City and Tottenham. So, but yeah, definitely I would target a few players. I think Oscar, you failed to mention, has been good.
Yeah, he took the penalty last game too.
Yeah, as well, which is massive plus. It's quite cheap. I think he had 5 shots on target last time as well. So he's clearly a good player. Maybe not for cash because he's kind of the first one to get out of the pitch if things go wrong. But for GPP, he's definitely a good player on Mondogoal. Costa can still be a good GPP player at 6 million, only because it's 6 million. It's just nothing else. Willian is amazing for sure, but more for Draftkings than for Mondogoal because Mondogoal starts to be expensive. 12 million. It doesn't score. I mean, he hasn't scored on open play.
Yeah, you're depending on a free kick from him.
Yeah, which is random, really.
Yeah.
Still not a bad guy, but I'm not too sure with Silva and De Bruyne and etc. at the same price. I'm not sure. Is really
he had a nice match against Sunderland. He had 13.65 Mondogoal points, but without a goal.
Yeah, he got an assist at least.
Yeah, that's he was down around 10 million for most of the season, so that's a little high.
I mean, it will be between 8 and 12 if he doesn't score. So. It's not too bad. I mean, it could be worse. So, yeah. But definitely, I mean, those guys will be so highly owned that you have to at least own a few of them. If you don't, I mean, if Chelsea goes off again, which is a possibility. I mean, I think one early goal would like let the crowd go, and I don't mind. I don't mind Chelsea at all.
Yeah. So, and then Watford, depending on how you feel about Chelsea's defense, it's been very, very bad. I don't think Sunderland really tells us a whole lot. They were pretty good against Sunderland, except they did give up a goal. For Watford, Ake can't play because of his deal with his parent club, is Chelsea. So that leaves Igalo and Dini. I think they're going to really struggle to get them service in this match, and that's what they're dependent on. And when you factor in the prices in an away match, just because they've been in such amazing form. I mean, part of that for Dini is taking penalties, but paying almost 14 million for Igalo away against a pretty tight defensive team just seems suicidal. I don't even know if I would use him in a GPP unless I just was confident that he would be under owned, and I don't know that he would be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I don't think he's a good player. I agree. He's way too expensive today. And as you said, many people will look at the average score and he's one of the top 5 and pick him up just for that. So it should be 1-2% owned, and it might be 5 to 10%, which is way too much. So you can't see much value both in cash and cash for sure, and even in GPP. I agree.
Yeah,
I won't play him for sure.
Yeah, he's one of those players people like to bet on form, and I think this is just such a bad match. I mean, given that I've certainly been burned by him frequently this season because I've refused to ride his hot streak. But I just think this is a really tough match, and the price is as high as it's been. So here's I think the most intriguing match of the slate. Maybe not for DFF purposes, but in terms of who Liverpool is and who Leicester is. I don't know if we fully know the answer. I guess we know who Leicester is at this point. I don't know if they're they're certainly not a title team in my book, but maybe a top 4 team. Liverpool has been all over the map, but this game could get fairly open. Are there players on Liverpool that you would target here?
Well, depending on the lineups, Benteke is super cheap. It's 6 million on Mondogoal. He's not a bad play. I don't even know why he's not playing, but apparently he's behind both Firmino and Origi, which I don't know. I don't understand. I mean, if you pay 40 million for your striker and you may know the striker like Sturridge is out, maybe you should play him, but that's I'm not Klopp. But yeah, otherwise Coutinho is always good for Mondogoal just because he shoots 5-6 times per game and he on target once or twice at least, and he passes a lot, etc. So he's always has quite a high floor.
Yeah.
It's not fantastic, but I could see. I wouldn't use him in cash, but for sure in GPP, even with a high floor, he also has a fairly high ceiling. He's fit again. He was not too. He was playing 70 minutes max the last 2 games. He's fit. So yeah, Coutinho, Benteke will be my 2 guys. Henderson could be, but it starts to be expensive. It's almost 10 million. So
he I feel like he should be like more of an 8 million guy, and he's 9.3.
Yeah, he's probably on penalties though.
Probably on penalties with Milner hurt and with especially if Benteke doesn't play. Moreno's been good, but he's up to 8.7 million. I don't see them keeping a clean sheet here. So
Moreno for Draftkings, yes. For Mondogoal is difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, apart from that, Mignolet is quite cheap if you want to. Like for a GPP lineup, I think he might be back. If he's not back, then I wouldn't target any defender. Skrtel is out for 6 weeks.
Yeah, I think that could hurt them a lot.
Yeah, Lovren is out. Sacco is not back. He was terrible last time. He's not fit. He was just rushed back because they need a centre back. So yeah, probably not. I wouldn't target anybody else, but Coutinho and Benteke probably.
Yeah,
I'm assuming Benteke plays, obviously.
Right, and that's part of the reason I think it could get open is because losing Skrtel I think is really bad for Liverpool.
Yeah.
Their keepers have been atrocious, have been so bad. And I think if Leicester can score on them early, then Liverpool's going to be forced to attack, which I think could be good. So.
Yeah, having said that, the Leicester guys are very expensive as well. So I don't think, as you said, it's an interesting game. For DFS, it's a tough one. I'm not sure I will be close. Yeah, I probably might have a bit of Coutinho, and Benteke if he plays, but that's pretty much it. I will fade entirely Leicester for the first time this year, I think. Not that I rate Liverpool, but the prices have changed materially.
Yeah,
which is fair enough, to be honest. It's more than fair.
They've earned it.
Yeah, exactly. So, but now you have to pick the right time to get the Mahrez and Vardy.
I would.
And I'm not sure.
I would consider Albrighton just because I think he's cheaper at 6.4 million. The one concern I have is it's hard to cross against Liverpool because they're trying to gegenpress and get the ball back high. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think fading Leicester is probably similar to Watford is probably a good time to do it this week.
Yeah, well, I'm absolutely fine to fade Watford, but Leicester, I do it reluctantly. I'm not too happy about it, but we will see there are so many good options that in a different slate, if you didn't have Man City and Tottenham and Chelsea, having such good games, definitely Mahrez would be a target. This is far less the case just because of the slate. But
Yeah, your audio is breaking up a little there, but yeah, I think that there's probably some upside in taking Mahrez or Vardy in a GPP. Just because they've been so good, and I think Liverpool does have some flaws in the back right now that they could exploit.
Having said that, you would always have people having Mahrez and Vardy. That's the same with Igalo. It's like in a GPP like Mondogoal, which you have 1,500 teams, but effectively you have 700, 800 unique teams. It's not that big of a slate, you know what I mean? You will still have those guys. I mean, having like the Vardy and Mahrez anyway, so they will not be massively under own.
You won't get the contrarian that you'd want there, but
yeah. So yeah, I'm not too sure. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't obviously. I wouldn't say it's a bad choice, but it's a tough one. It's like Watford. It's they are in a tough spot for this slate, I would say.
Yep. So going to the disappointed team at the Etihad, Manchester City is going to get to host Sunderland and take out some frustration. We've got a limit of 4 City players on Mondogoal. I think that there's probably 6 or 7 viable options, maybe more, depending on how you feel about their center backs. But I think that's going to be very important is to pick the right 4 for GPPs and probably shuffling things around a little bit. Maybe taking a flyer on a guy like Sterling, who's been very bad since his one good Champions League game. They're nearly fit, and I can't see them resting. Well, Aguero did come off a little bit early. I think he's probably about to come off anyhow. Yeah. He didn't have a concussion, did he? Did that come out?
No, it's I haven't seen that.
Okay. I know he took an elbow to the back of the head, and that's why he came out initially. But I didn't hear anything beyond that, and I think he was going to come out due to his heel anyhow pretty soon. De Bruyne looked decent against Arsenal, and this is just such a good matchup that I think he's probably going to be the best play here. And then I think it gets a little bit tough, to pay for Aguero. I think is probably something you're going to have to do. You would like to have seen him score, since he's been back before taking him, but Silva is going to be very popular and is very reasonably priced for what he can do, 12.2 million. Then it gets a little deeper. You've got Yaya at 11.3. You've got Sterling at 8.8. You've got Kolarov at 8.7. Delph started last game is 8.1. And then of course you've got the defense. They should be the top team for a clean sheet as well. So, what do you think is going to be your cash strategy, and then how will you handle them in GPPs as well?
Cash, it's very hard to go against Aguero. I'm not a big fan, but I think it would be fairly highly owned, and if he goes off, he can kill you in cash. So that's a problem. And if he doesn't, then everybody will have him anyway. So it's kind of strategically, I think I will have Aguero in my cash team. That leaves 3 spots maximum. I mean, Hart is very cheap, and as you said, he has the highest probability for a clean sheet. So I probably go with Hart. And then the last two spots, I probably fade. I don't know. I probably go Kolarov and Silva. Fade De Bruyne because he hasn't. I mean, he looked good, but he hasn't been the same as he was at the beginning. Mostly in terms of goal opportunities, he doesn't shoot as much. You look at his stats; it's not amazing. Silva, the problem of Silva is that he will play 70, 75 max. So they have the same price, so it's one of the two. I think I would go, I would probably go Hart, Kolarov, one of Silva, De Bruyne, and Aguero.
And then
for GPP, as you said, Sterling, but he burnt me so much this year. I mean, you talk about Chelsea, but clearly this guy killed me. But still a good GPP player. I mean, the one time I didn't have him, that's the one time you liked him. He scored twice and got an assist. It was ridiculous. I will have to have some Sterling if he plays, obviously.
Yeah, I think I could see either De Bruyne or Silva resting here.
That would be good because then I would hand. Yeah,
it makes that decision a lot easier.
Yeah, exactly.
And then and then you've got Navas, who, I mean, the lack of goals from Navas has gotten to the point that it's absolutely just comical to watch. I don't know if you saw most of the match, but he had an absolute breakaway, and rather than take a shot, he turned and passed into 3 defenders to a guy that really wasn't even paying attention or expecting a pass. It was just he's very scared at this point, and I can't imagine that he's going to be scoring a goal for you. But assists on the other hand are in play, and I think that I think that Hart is a decent enough price that you could use him. There are some other keepers that are, he's definitely the best combination of clean sheet odds and price. I think Fabianski is the better option if you want to go cheaper than him. And then I think Lloris would end up being kind of the more GPP play for me because he's the wrong combination of expensive and clean sheet odds. But it would just depend on kind of the lineup that they end up coming out with and whether I think that there's more upside in other City players because we've seen what City can do when they feel like scoring and they don't stop. When Aguero had 5 goals against Newcastle, it was just if you weren't on them, you were just watching your money melt away. So Hart is going to be capped at a clean sheet and maybe 1 or 2 saves. They've been pretty bad defensively, but
Company might be back, so
that helps. That doesn't help him with saves. That helps him with the clean sheet.
Yeah, but in Mondogoal, you really want the clean sheets. I mean, the saves are nice, but No, I agree. Having said that, again, we'll see that there are other options in midfield. We talk about Willian, we talk about Oscar, we'll talk about some Tottenham guys. So you don't really have to go for mid/strikers for Man City to make sense, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's more a GPP type where you will hope for a 4 or 5 goal and get 4 guys of those mid strikers. I don't know. I don't mind Hart at all in cash, to be honest. Even if it uses a spot of Man City, I don't mind too much.
Yeah, you're right. There are more games in this slate than there are typically. So,
easy games as well. Chelsea, Tottenham have fairly easy games. So, Aguero is a big thing. Aguero, as you say, if Aguero doesn't play, I won't use Bonnie because he's been awful. And if one of Silva or De Bruyne do not play, it's the same. It will make such an easy decision, to be honest, because the field will reduce from 6-7 possibilities to 4 or 5. So we'll see according to the lineups.
Yep, I agree, and I think we can leave Sunderland alone. Next match is Swansea and West Brom. I'm going to lose my sign again, back-to-back weeks. Swansea couldn't score against West Ham. They're pretty bad. You know, they had their moments. We talked about it early in the season where they were definitely benefiting from playing against teams that had lost a man to a red card, and so their stats were looking a little bit better. But they played better as well. You know, a couple players that I will look at here. Sigurdsson has actually been much better lately. He had been very slow to start the season. I've liked what I've seen from him more. Ayu's gone a little bit cold. Gomes has gone completely cold. So those are tougher guys to take here. I like Fabianski, like I said, at 5.2 million. Rondon and McLean both got red cards last match, which takes the vast majority of the West Brom threats out of their lineup. And, you know, you're going to see Berahino and maybe Sessegnon. You know, Berahino's record is really all home goals. He hasn't done it away from the Hawthorns. So I think Fabianski, and then even, you know, depending on which fullbacks they go with, they had Neil Taylor and Rangel last time. I would think Naughton would get back in. I know you like him. What are you looking at here?
Yeah, I agree with Sigurdsson. Well, I mean, it's all about the system. Last time he played striker. Well, not last time, but 2 weeks ago he plays as a striker. Last time he plays just behind two strikers, so number 10. So he's far more up the pitch than he was, and that's a big thing for him. Definitely is a good player, both Mondogoal and Draftkings. I think I like Gomes if he starts as a GPP player, because he scored actually 2 weeks ago against Man City. It's just, I mean, he could go off one night, and he will not be highly owned. I don't rate too much the West Brom defense, as you know. I mean, they are overrated completely, and this year proves it. I mean, they haven't been that good. I mean, it's not a bad team defensively, but I don't think they're as good as people think they are. I like Gomes for a GPP. I like Sigurdsson even for cash.
Yeah.
Taylor, as you said, Neil Taylor on Mondogoal is much cheaper than the rest of the defense for absolutely no reason. I don't understand, but definitely, I mean, he's at play just because it's 2 million below the rest. Fabianski is cheap as well, so you could get a combination Fabianski, Taylor, and hope for a clean sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad. They are not bad plays at all. I think you could use a few of their players in that game.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if they score one or twice against West Brom.
Yeah, I think this could be a nice coming out game for them, and you know, they've been so quiet for a while now, and
but they were fairly good against Man City 2 weeks ago.
Right.
They were quite awful against West Ham, but I mean the game it was not really their fault. I mean West Ham really played so narrowly, so badly as well. It was a bad game in general, so you can't judge them. So yeah, I like them. I mean, I think they might change the system. That's a problem. So check if Sigurdsson plays more deep, then maybe not. I don't know. It's all system dependent on this one. Yeah.
Right. All right. Give me 1 second here.
But for West Brom, Berahino could be a GPP type. I mean, it will be 0 owned. So you never know. I mean, he could. As you said, he's been bad. I mean, even at home, he's been bad. But he's on penalties.
Right, and
Um,
Swansea hasn't been that scary, and he's only 6.2 million. So
yeah, I mean, a tap in a penalty is not something that you would think is impossible. So pure GPP type. I mean,
yeah,
when I say GPP is the big contest as well, not a 10-man contest. It's a
right.
yeah, why not? I wouldn't mind the rest of West Brom. I mean, defenders are strikers basically. I mean, it's no, I wouldn't touch them much. But Behaino could be. I mean, assuming he plays because Pulis seems to hate him anyway. So I wouldn't be
That's a good
surprised
point.
if any Chebib starts, or I wouldn't be surprised at all, to be honest. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and well, we will have that one at least. We'll have those lineups. So
yeah, exactly. You need to, because yeah, it's one of those where you have no idea really.
So Tottenham and Norwich
Yep.
at White Hart Lane. I think Tottenham is, they've, man. I'm wearing my Arsenal shirt for the first time. I'm exposing my true colors here. I think the Spurs might be good. Their numbers say they're good. Their performances say they're good. They just went and beat Southampton at Southampton pretty comfortably.
Yep.
I like their defense right now. I like their attack. Dele Alli has been great. They've even figured out how to use Lamela, who I know you like anyhow, even when he wasn't highly regarded. This seems like a match where you might want a good number of Spurs here. Who in particular do you like?
Yeah, I mean, all the strikers. I mean, attacking mids and strikers are in play for sure. I don't rate Norwich, as you know. I don't rate them at all. Kane, I'm not too sure about Kane because it's kind of, he had a knock, and before that, Pochettino said he wanted to rest Kane, and clearly, if you look at the fixtures, if you want to to give Kane a game off, it will be that game. So let's check the lineup. If Kane plays, it's definitely a top option.
Mm-hmm.
Ali, why not? I like Lamela. I like Eriksen. I like all the players because even Dyer in midfield is class. I mean, is a defender on Mondogoal, so he's a goal threat. He scored twice this year. I mean, yeah. I mean, the expensive. The difference is expensive, so it's only if you have really some space. But as you said, I mean, pretty much everybody's in play, to be honest.
Yeah, Walker at 9.6 is a little much, even though he's been good. And Rose is 8.6.
I think Rose probably is the cheapest guy, and
yeah, he hasn't been the threat that he usually is on
it's
attack.
not too bad. Yeah,
I don't know. I think that it might be more of a situation where they just have other good players now that they don't need him quite as much. So it's not that he's necessarily playing bad. He just doesn't get as many touches as he used to. They're less dependent on him.
He got at least 2 assists and a goal this season.
Well, fine.
Which is not too bad.
No. 2 assists, no goals. There's no goals in Premier League play.
No goals, really? Okay. But I think at least 2 assists for sure.
2 assists.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, they're expensive. Having said that, for a GPP type, you could assume that could be a good play to get a couple of them, and hope for like Man City or Chelsea to concede and them to get a clean sheet, and all of a sudden you
get a clean sheet and to maybe both Walker and Rose can score, or get an assist. So I agree that definitely could be a good move if you have the money and like you and I are talking about fading Igalo and probably Mahrez and Vardy. So there's a chance you could have some money. You might have to find somebody a little more inexpensive, which I haven't seen a ton of great options.
Yeah, it's tough.
Exactly. Maybe a Zaha, something like that can help you unlock some budget. But
Yeah. No, it's a tough one. That's why it will be hard to pay for defense, and that's why I was saying it's more a GPP type, because very few will have the Spurs, not because they're bad, it's just because they
It's
don't have
expensive.
the they don't have the budget. So
Yep.
yeah, I don't think I would have any Spurs defender in my cash team. They're just too expensive. But for GPP, they could be something.
Yep. All right. So now we go. That was the set of games. It'll be 3 p.m. Now we go to the two later matches. First is Newcastle hosting Everton. Newcastle is still struggling pretty badly. I think they got a couple wins, but nothing convincing. Cisse came off early in that rain-drenched match. So I think Mitrovic may get the start.
Yeah.
Everton, I don't think is particularly good defensively. I think that if anything, they've been a little lucky this year to even show the stats that they have. So to me, that opens up Sissoko. I don't like to play Wijnaldum. I think you're still paying for his 4-goal match, and I just don't think that he's going to be a reliable producer. Maybe in a GPP, which is kind of a throwaway way to say that you have no idea what's going to happen. But obviously, we've seen he does have upside, and he manages to get in position to score. Everton's attack has been good. They've got Baines back now, Coleman, so their fullbacks are very much in play. Lukaku, De La Feu, Barkley have all been good. You think this match is kind of undercover gonna get open?
Yeah, I think it could be not a bad play to get at least the Everton, like the guys that we all like, the Lukaku, the De La Feu, Barkley, obviously still expensive, but why not? I mean, in a GPP, because I don't think they will be highly owned. As you said, people will focus on the games where we know the lineups, and except Miralas versus Kone, I can tell you, we can pretty much predict what will be the lineup of Everton. They have been very predictable, surprisingly, because last year they were awful. On the wings, you had like players changing every single game. Like you had Lennon and Naismith and all these guys. And this year they've been very consistent. So I think they will be not too highly on for a good matchup, just because people are scared about potential rests. So I don't. I agree. I think Lukaku, De La Feu, Barkley, all very good plays. Even a guy like Baines or even Coleman, why not? So yeah, I don't think they are too bad as a target, at least for GPP. As for Newcastle, as you said, Cisse is out, so it helps. We kind of, they are predictable as well. The only two spots we don't know is the strikers. If Cisse is out, pretty much Mitrovic plays, and I don't think De Jong will continue. To be honest, he was not that great.
He missed a sitter last match, and I feel like he got pulled out of the game almost immediately afterwards. Maybe maybe related, maybe not, but I think
Perez has been good. So
yeah, I like him. I don't think you can play him without knowing that he's going to start. But I would really like to play Ayoze here. That's another Draftkings late swap play where he'll take corner kicks and could score a goal, but Mondogoal, you can't risk it.
Yeah, and in Mondogoal is less appealing, I would say, because corner obviously is not as important, and yeah, I'm not sure, but definitely the Everton guys are pretty good spots.
Yeah, I think you could even get away with Howard as a keeper and hope Newcastle can't score. The thing with Howard is like I mentioned, he'll get saves because Everton just cannot seem to lock things down at the back. So it's a type of GPP play where he'll either concede 2 or 3 goals, or he could get 5 saves and a clean sheet. It's hard to say. He was announcing the Arsenal Man City game a few days ago in London, so he's totally focused on Newcastle right now. Speaking of Arsenal, that's our final match. Southampton hosting Arsenal. Southampton, continues to have the same story year after year now, where they're able to create chances, and it just doesn't seem to work out for them quite as well as you'd hope. And now they're facing against the team that is sort of a graduated version of that, who even has more chances created and struggles slightly less, but still doesn't live up to the statistics based on what people would project. I think Arsenal's probably a little expensive here. I don't think Southampton is going to be particularly good. Arsenal's got, after a big win like that, they've got a lot to play for, and I think they're going to be very content to pack this in and try not to concede and then counterattack a little bit. Is that how you see this playing out, or do you see it differently?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this. I mean, it would be nice to watch, but it's very hard to predict how it can go. As you said, I'm not sure the two teams will go all in, like, at least at the beginning. I don't think I will target that many players. As you said, they're expensive, and you don't really. I mean, there could be rest involved as well. It's difficult. I don't think. I mean, maybe in Draftkings where you have late swap, you can have easy, like, straight swaps, Özil to whatever, Ramsey, or it's not the case in Mondogoal. So I don't think I will have many of those players, if not at all, to be honest, because I really don't see this game going too crazy. Southampton got a bit unlucky. I mean, you said Tottenham was good. I think Southampton was really good the first half. I watched the game quickly. They were clearly unlucky, and they will want to go back to basics, which is try to be tight as they were in September. After they got beaten by Everton 3-0, they went on a run of 5-10 games where they get back to where they were last year, a very tight, compact team, playing counter-attack with Tadic and Mane. And I think they will want to do that as well tomorrow. So, tomorrow on Boxing Day. So I'm not a fan of this game. I mean, it will be nice to watch, even if there might not be that many goals, but at least it will be a tactical battle for sure. For pure DFS, I'm not a big fan of this game.
Yeah, I think that on Mondogoal in a GPP, you could end up burning an entry by risking some players. But of Arsenal's two matches, they've got Southampton away, and then they've got Bournemouth at home 2 days later. So this is certainly the game I think that they would focus on between the two. So I think you'll see, Ozil came off early at City, which turned out to be a little bit dangerous. Ramsey's probably a little tired considering he came back from injury and has been playing 90. But I don't think Alexis will be ready for this.
No.
Campbell, Campbell's Campbell. I don't think that's going to be a play. Yeah, he could see the bench even if it wasn't for rest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have Oxlade-Chamberlain who can play. I mean, it's hard to.
I don't think there's enough upside in a GPP considering the risk. Maybe with Theo or Giroud.
Giroud is not bad. I like Giroud. I think it's pretty much guaranteed to play as well. So
yeah, I think
if he doesn't play, he can come on and score. He did it already. So
right, he won't totally kill you. He'll get 20 minutes minimum.
Yeah.
Same with Walcott, I think, and they both, they're both in pretty good form, and but I think this is going to be a pretty quiet game, and considering the prices on Arsenal players, I don't think there's a tremendous amount of upside. So, I think
I agree.
That kind of wraps it up. We've got City, Spurs, maybe Chelsea. And then beyond that, Balassier, maybe something in Villa, West Ham, Richie maybe, but probably not on Mondogoal. And then Swansea is sort of a dark horse. I think Swansea becomes more interesting based on what else is options in terms of the GPP. You could go to Swansea over some City players and hope that Fabian Delph scores or something like that and doesn't kill you. So
yeah, I think in Mondogoal the hard part, I did it very quickly. The hard part will be to find the cheap guys that will allow the stars. So the cheap guys are really in the striker position. There's no good options below 8 million in midfield. So most people will go 3-4-3. So you have to keep that in mind, I think. And as such, the guys like Costa and even Benteke, Gomes might be more highly owned than you think as well. Just because you will have to find at least 2 players below 7 million to make up your team. So there will be strategy involved as well, because it's not an easy slate. Well, it looks easy, but
the pricing is good.
The pricing is much nicer than it used to be, for sure.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think that's helpful, and that just makes the hour before, after we get lineups, even more important, because we actually will be just totally searching for value, seeing if anything pops up, whether it be defense or a cheap midfielder, and that could help tremendously. And then in GPP, a guy like Berahino, like we mentioned, who is going to be way off the radar for most managers.
Yeah.
If he can get you a goal, and he's got more than a goal upside, but we should probably stop talking about Berahino, or we're going to get hate mail. Anyhow, Nick, thanks a lot for joining us today. I know you've got a busy holiday schedule here coming up, and wish you continued success. You've been pretty solid lately, and I know that people will be happy to get some of your thoughts here. So good luck on Boxing Day and the rest of the week, and we will see you again soon.
Yep, definitely. Thank you, and Merry Christmas, everyone.
All right, you too. Thanks.
Yep.